that, I've been kind of keeping an eye on because I have a lot of veteran friends is the 3M earplug.
Yeah.
So tell folks about what that one is.
The 3M earplug case is, I don't know how they'll ever close this out and settle it. And basically the plaintiff's bar is just, we're trying to try cases as fast as possible to put max pressure on 3M. But that had to do with people who served in war zones. They gave them a faulty earplug.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously you're wearing an earplug thinking you could still hear your commander, and then you've got a war zone going on, and, you're having hearing loss. So that involves tinnitus, hearing loss. Some are deaf now.
And tinnitus is ringing in the ear. A lot of people don't know that's what that is.
Yeah.
But it's that ringing in the ear, and I'd rather be deaf than have ringing in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because
constant annoyance.
Yeah.
So you basically had those trials are still set. I mean, they're cranking trials, and plaintiffs have got multi-million-dollar verdicts on every one that's been tried. I think one has been lost. So
they're really going to kind of run out of money before they get to everybody, you think?
Well, it's going to be hard to bankrupt 3M. I mean, it's a very, very large they make billions of dollars.
Okay.
So the question is, are they just going to keep defending these things one by one, which is costly for both sides, or are they going to try to settle everything out at once? And that's the ultimate question.
Well,
gotcha.
Recently, the judge came down and said, we're not postponing these cases. We're not going to do them one by one. Let's do it, and let's try a bunch of them at one time. So plaintiffs' attorneys like us, our firm, other firms are taking these cases, and they're going to be trying them. And 3M's going to have to answer to all of them very quickly.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll put the pressure on them to make them do the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not want to be any of these companies that have done these things.
Yeah.
So what about talc?
Yeah, so talc, and this has been in the news lately, it has to do with asbestos in talc, and that's causing ovarian cancer. And what Johnson & Johnson has done, Imerys, the talc miner, has already been bankrupt. They're in the bankruptcy.
What is talc?
Talc is a
Baby
mineral.
powder. It's what's you see in most baby powders.
It's a mineral.
I didn't know what talc was. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a mineral mined from the earth.
It's like a chalky.
Okay.
And so what they were doing, they're putting that in their baby powder. Women are using the baby powder that they've been for years, right? It migrates.
Your grandmother. I mean, how many? My grandmother. That's all she ever did.
Oh yeah.
She'd go in the shower and she'd baby powder everything. Yeah.
Especially the older generation.
Yes.
So it would migrate into the ovaries, and as it sits there for years, I mean, it creates ovarian cancer, and then a lot of these women have to go through cancer chemotherapy, or they pass away, unfortunately.
Hysterectomies, all that stuff.
Yeah. So terrible stuff.
Yeah.
And literally, if you look at when they take a scanning electron microscope of the ovaries, you can see the asbestos crystals. And the only way it would have got there is from use of shower to shower or baby powder, Johnson & Johnson baby powder. And they owned all the market. So, I mean, it came from them. So Imerys is already bankrupted. They're out. And so the way Johnson & Johnson is trying to get out of this is this bankruptcy code in Texas where they can set aside some money into another subsidiary and immediately bankrupted. So I think they put aside $2 billion into this new company, bankrupted the company, and said, this is what's going to pay for these ovarian cancer claims. Plaintiff's bar, we tried to fight it. Judge just recently ruled, no, it can stay. However, we think that they're going to force them to put more money in there. So the bad news is, none of those women, I think, will ever be fully compensated, but they will get something. So that's the good news with that. And there's still time to file a claim.
Right.
So
with all of these, right?
Yeah, with all these. So essentially, if you have to prove use, so if you use talc, shower to shower, I shouldn't say use talc, but if you use baby powder, shower to shower, any kind of those feminine hygiene products growing up, and you've been diagnosed with ovarian cancer, it's important that we ask the question, could have this happened from talc exposure?
Yeah.
And then you may have a claim. We can evaluate that for you.
Yeah. I also tell people all the time, you don't realize how many products have talc in them. Like, I bought, my kids had athlete's foot, and so I bought like Loachman, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the spray stuff, a lot of that stuff has talc in it, and you're just spraying it and it's getting into your lungs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're breathing it. So please be cognizant of the things that have talc in them, because we know now from the science that all talc mines have asbestos in them, and it's just not worth it. Because these companies can be using cornstarch, which has the same effect. It's cheaper, but the reason they didn't is because they own the talc mines.
Yeah.
So be looking at those ingredients, because that stuff matters, because all we want to do is protect our, keep our health and protect our families and our children. So
Yeah.
be looking at those ingredients to see if there's talc in something, and if it does, put it back on the shelf and find something that doesn't.
Yeah. Good advice.
And then ultimately, people just don't know about all these cases we've talked about.
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the reason we're doing this justice report. Let's get the word out. Let's educate as many people as we possibly can. Spread the word, because, obviously if you get in a car wreck, you know to call us, but you may have these issues with you or a loved one or in your family or a friend or anybody.
And think it's unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't even know it's a claim at all.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like along the way, like I had a client in for a speeding ticket, and he was telling me about how he has lymphoma. And I said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." He was like 25 years old. He's like
Yeah.
a baby. I said, "What do you do for a living?" As we're talking or whatever. And he said, I've been in landscaping my whole life since I was 15. I've been in landscaping." And so, we end up figuring out that his lymphoma came from use of Roundup. So we're constantly, we're asking our clients that, being very in tune to this kind of stuff, because who would ever think that this company that you trust is going to give you a product that's going to give you cancer or hurt you?
Yeah.
But we've all seen Aaron Brockovich. We know how this rolls, and we've got to hold him accountable.
Yeah.
in the worst case is the one bad thing about these is once they're closed, they're done because they're making a deal.
And they'll keep selling it.
They'll keep selling it, yeah.
Like Roundup will,
Or they'll
it
change
will
the
close,
label.
and they'll change the label and put a warning,
Wow.
and they will still do it.
But you could lose your case, so it's important to get these in before the MDLs close out and settle.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. It's crazy to me how these mass torts even start up, because how do you even know that your case could, affects other people too,
Well, it usually begins with an FDA recall.
Okay.
Okay, so we're always watching the FDA website, and they'll pop, like the Exact Tech just popped up in February. So if we see something where 147,000 knee parts
Pull
are
back.
recalled, that turns them up. Hey, there's something
Why?
to this. Why? What kind of damages are there going to be? Is there going to be some litigation? And and in all of these, that's been the case.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for chatting about this. I mean,
Yeah.
folks, they can head online if they want to learn more about mass torts, justiceslovely.com. And of course, you can always keep up with the Lovely Law Firm on any social media outlet that you consume: Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. There's podcasts. They've got everything going on. Carolina Justice Report drops every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Make sure you stay tuned with us.
When life gets ugly, justice is lovely. The love